Welcome to this video. You can open that. As you'll see in a second here, this video, you can tell from the title, is going to be kind of weird, but first things first, you can see the car is now off of the trailer and up on jack stands as we have started the work on it. We still haven't checked the brakes or to find out what's going on with that or at all. So we have had the rear axle out. And after talking with Klotz, the guys that are building the engine for this car, backup motor for next year, we have found out, I don't know if I'll be able to show it here. Yeah, I gotta show it. The axle is slightly bent, and with the way the seal is, we believe the vibration is opening it up. As you can see there, it can open up pretty easily just from pressure, and that's allowing the oil to get by. So I need to find one, because the one that Klotz is showing me has two rubbers in here, not just one. Here, I'll pull this off. Show you guys real quick. So you can see this is just one thicker rubber. Well, the one that Klotz was showing me has two. So an outer rubber and an inner rubber that would sit right about here. And the hole on theirs is a little bit smaller. Which allow for better blockage of the oil, and if there's any movement in the axle, which this axle is slightly bent in the middle, but the ends weren't that bad. But that was also the left side axle, which in circle track, that's where all the weight is, so it would not surprise me if that's why, if just the force alone from turning was forcing that axle to move the rubber on me. So the reason I'm actually out here at the shop is I need to find a fuel pump for my buddy, which will bring us into this past, where in our last video we said that our season was done. We assumed that it was, except for something did come up on the weekend where I was going to the track to help my buddy out, get his car going. Unfortunately, like I just said, he had a fuel pump issue at the track, so we weren't able to get him going. But there was a car that was in need of a driver in the vintage class, as the normal driver runs, I believe it's Crate Sprints, dirt track. And I believe it was the Canadian Nationals down at Ohsweken, was basically all week. If I'm not too mistaken, racing basically started from Tuesday and went right through to Sunday down there. So he was busy with his crate car, and the guy that was gonna drive that car ended up having a sore back, and so he didn't want to drive it. I had my stuff with me, luckily enough, and the one guy I had actually offered a car to about 8 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that, for my sister's wedding. So I was going to miss the day, and I wanted to keep the car in the points, so I had him drive it for me. It was a super stock, which is basically a limited late model nowadays here in Canada. So he talked to the owner, and they eventually decided to let me take the car out. So I'll go through how things proceeded there. Here's a picture of the car that I was driving. So first things first, practice with how the car was. We didn't even know tire pressures or nothing because we weren't really told anything. So we just set our normal tire pressures for our car into the car, and that car was all over the track with those tire pressures. After the practice, we did one of our guys did notice that they had air pressures written on the shocks. So after practice, we didn't get out for second practice because going to the track, not expecting to be in a car and racing. We didn't have any extra fuel. And the owner of the car didn't have any extra fuel as they were running, I think, like 3 or 4 cars themselves. So I had to grab their, they did have a jerry can there that I was able to grab and head out to get some fuel for the car. Unfortunately, that caused us to miss the second practice. So we went into the first race, because it's double feature, with very little time in the car. And this car was an 8, so it's a little different from this one. And it's on coilovers, while ours, let's back real quickly, because I don't think we've mentioned this before, is on leaf springs. So you can see there. So there's 3 different kind of spring designs for these cars. You have the 4-leaf spring car, which is what mine is. You have, I believe it's a 3-leaf car. So instead of the leaf spring running front to back, like mine does, in the front it will run left to right, the leaf spring. So it basically follows the axle right across the car. And then you have the coilovers, which is what's on most cars nowadays. So that was I'm pretty sure that car was a coilover car with a V8 in it. So race 1, we ended up figuring out the handling a little bit. And I have a feeling we figured out the handling because we were so far off the pace. Reason we were off the pace, I'll mention there in a little bit, but we did start the race in P11. We were as low as P12, probably the lowest count that this class has had this season, with only 12 cars showing up. We ended up finishing 2 laps down in P10, like 10th position. Oops, I just kicked the axle over. That's not good. So after that, I was wondering why the car would not come off the corners. It would not take off at all down the straightaways. I had it in gear 3, which is what my super stock was geared for, what my car is geared for. But from after that race, I went down and talked to the guy that got me the ride pretty much and asked him what could have been and what it was, and he basically told me that I was in the wrong gear because that car was geared for second, not third, which I think is kind of weird, but whatever works for them. So in race 2, we started thinking about the 9th position, 8th or 9th. I thought I counted 8. According to Race Monitor, basically we started 9th, which no, I didn't mention it. I'll have the standings up so you can actually see the time difference too, Race Monitor. So we started in 9th position. Actually got a good start because we were in the proper gear this time. And had a pretty solid run. Unfortunately, the handling issues did come back. I don't know if we remembered to check the tire pressures on the car to make sure everything was set up right. Prior to us going out. So that could have been part of the issue. Tire pressures might not have been right when we went back out. Plus, there was an issue with the car that we weren't really told about till the end of the night when we were done. So besides that, car had speed finally. We did move up to, according to Race Monitor, 8th. I thought we were 7th. Like I said, Race Monitor seems to be putting us down 1 position from where I thought and my one crew member thought we were. But so I'll just go by what Race Monitor was telling us. So that we were 8th. We were battling with the 94 a few times. I don't have any on-track footage because it wasn't my car. I got there and was basically asked if I wanted to race the car. So, and we kept them in the points. But yeah, going back to the second race anyway. As you can see, our time really dropped down. The car was all over the track again. But we did end up finishing in according to Race Monitor, in 8th, as you can see. So after the race, like I said, went down, thanked them again for allowing us the opportunity to drive the car for them. And we were able to bring the car home in one piece for them, give them some points, like I said, keep them in the points, and keep that car going into championship night in 2 weeks. And that's when they asked about the front left brake rotor, if it was still dragging and glowing. Well, if it was glowing red still, because they were having issues with what they think was it dragging a little bit. So that could have also been part of the handling issue, because it did seem to be shimmying from the front end, unlike what my car does, where it just wanted to pull to the left constantly, and the rear kept kicking out, and just it felt more like how a dirt sprint car drives out on track. So from what I've seen, I've never driven a sprint car, so I don't know, which would not surprise me if it was set up a little bit that way, since, like I said, the guy that regularly drives the car is a sprint car driver, so he's kind of used to it being like that, where it's basically sideways down the straightaway, and you don't even have to turn the wheel going into the corner to get it to turn. So, but I think the brake also had something to do with it, so it's more than just the setup. Like, I like a car that turns in pretty well. I like to turn in on that car, unlike mine, but I just couldn't get the car to go straight down the straightaway. That was the biggest issue that we fought the entire day. And like I said, unfortunately, the reason that we went there was to get my buddy up to get his car going and hopefully up to speed, but like I said earlier, fortunately that didn't happen. I do not think we will be out to the track again this year. It will depend on him. I don't think I'll be getting in the car again this season, but who knows. I'm leaving my stuff in my truck just in case something comes up again. Besides that, I'm like, it's kind of a long drive home with that thought of how disappointed my buddy looked, because of how his car was. It's like, we go to a track to get him going, and I ended up having a lot more fun than what he did out there, which kind of bummed me out. But and is racing. So now I gotta look for a fuel pump for him, see if I can find one. Try to get my sponsors flashed up here on the screen, because I don't think I've been doing that recently. And outside of that, hopefully we'll see you guys in another video. Hopefully we'll have another shop video for you guys shortly. As the car, like I said, it's up on jack stand. Already got this side, the axle's out. We're probably gonna rip apart the calipers and see if we can rebuild them ourselves. So it's this caliper here. Still not sure where all the fluid went. The tire's the wrong way to show you. It's not leaking anymore. As you can see, the level hasn't really changed from the last video. But we also haven't really done much with the car since the last video. But hopefully, well, see you guys in another video. And have a good one. Bye.